Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rabbi's class.
Good evening, everyone. And today we're going to talk about the Bikorim, the beginning of Parashat Ki Tavo. So in your Chumash, Artscroll 1068. And what we try to find out, something really, really interesting, is that the Mitzvah of Bikorim, the bringing of the first fruit.
Sorry, Ravi, could you repeat the page again?
Yeah, 1068, 1069 in English. I'll read it in a moment. And if you have different Chumash, it's chapter 26 in the book of Bikorim, in the book of Deuteronomy, beginning of Parashat Ki Tavo. And we'll see that in interesting parables in this parasha to some other two major sins that this is kind of the way to repair those. One is a little bit of a kind of a vote, but the other one is quite substantial. And I think it's a great revelation, hopefully, after this class. So let's start. Let's start with reading the parasha and see what is the uniqueness of this mitzvah of bringing the first fruits to the Kohen, to the temple, declaring the following.
So we're at the start of Parashat Ki Tavo. It will be when you enter the land that Hashem your God gives you as an inheritance, and you possess it and dwell in it, that you shall take of the first of every fruit off the ground that you bring in from your land that Hashem your God gives you. And you shall put it in a basket and go to the place that Hashem your God will choose to make his name rest there. You shall come to whoever will be the Kohen in those days, and you shall say to him, I declare today to Hashem your God, that I have come to the land that Hashem swore to our forefathers to give us. The Kohen shall take the basket from your hand and lay it before the altar of Hashem your God.
Go on.
Then you shall call out and say before Hashem your God, an Aramaean tried to destroy my forefather. He descended to Egypt and sojourned there, few in number, and there he became a nation, great, strong, and numerous. The Egyptians mistreated us and afflicted us and placed hard work upon us. And then we cried out to Hashem our God, the God of our forefathers, and Hashem heard our voice and saw our affliction, our travail, and our oppression. Hashem took us out of Egypt with a strong hand and with an outstretched arm and with great awesomeness and with signs and with wonders. He brought us to this place and he gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And now, behold, I have brought the first fruit of the ground. Yeah, we're very much in the land of milk and honey right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Almost.
That you have given me, O Hashem. And you shall lay it before Hashem your God, and you shall prostrate yourself before Hashem your God. For all the points, this must sound familiar. Where do we know this from?
I'm at the Seder.
That's right.
Very good.
Very good. As soon as we said an Aramaean tried to destroy my forefather, I saw Mum's eyes light up.
You actually said it to me.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Beautiful. Yeah, I finished there.
You shall rejoice with all the goodness that Hashem your God has given you and your household, you and the Levite and the proselyte who is in your midst.
Beautiful. Okay, so we'll go back to the beginning, and obviously this mitzvah is related only in the land of Israel. There the Torah says, "Ve'haya ki tavo el haaretz." It will be when you enter the land of Hashem your God gives you as inheritance. Yeah, and then you should bring the first fruit of. I don't like to look at myself, please.
Okay.
It's hard to concentrate and prefer to look at my audience. And so when we come to the land, then we need to do this declaration. It's not only enough to bring those fruit. By the way, it's important to know what type of fruit we need to bring. I mean, the Mitzvah of Bikorim is not actually if you have a tree of oranges or lemons the first time, you need to bring them. Who knows what is the mitzvah related to?
Or any guesses?
Yeah? Anyone? I'll help you, it's really important. Yeah? Look at verse 2. Yeah?
Hi Barry, welcome.
Verse 2 says,
that you shall take the first of every fruit of the ground that you bring in from your land that Hashem your God gives you.
Right. So Rashi says here something beautiful. and Rashi brings basically the Gemara. The Gemara says, Mereshit velo kol reshit, from the first fruit, but not every first fruit. Yeah? Not all the fruit are obligated in being Bikurim, become Bikurim, ela shiv'at aminim bilvad, only the 7 special species of the land of Israel. Yeah, Barry has joined us. Hello, Barry. Yeah? So only the 7 special fruit of the land of Israel. Yeah? Let's see how the Gemara learns that. The Gemara says, Ne'emar le'alan eretz cheta u'sora. Let's open the verse. We're starting our jumping today quite a bit. Go to Parasha Ekev, the beginning of Parashat Ekev, which is on page.
The book of Devarim.
Only a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, not long since we were here. That's right, Dad.
Yeah.
All right, it's the beginning of chapter 8. Chapter 8 in the book of Devarim. We are on page 983. And from verse 7. Look at verse 7. Let's read chapter 8, book of Deuteronomy, verse 7. 7 and 8. Yeah?
For Hashem your God is bringing you to a good land, a land with streams of water, of springs and underground water coming forth in valleys and mountain.
New Zealand.
A land of wheat, barley, grape, fig, and pomegranate. A land of oil, olives, and date honey.
So this is the 7 species, by the way. Yeah? We have special blessing for all you who are converting and learning about the special blessings that we have. The blessing before the fruit, all the fruit are the same, except of course, what? 2 type of blessings that are different, which are part of this.
Yeah.
Every other blessing, every other fruit is borei pri ha'etz,
the fruit of the tree.
Yeah.
and except of 2 type of fruit that is different as a special blessing, not fruit. Any, yeah, produce. No, come on, help me.
Which are the 2?
Grant, save us here. Grant, save us. We can't hear you. Are you on mute?
Sorry, I'm battling with the sound of the baby, so I'm missing the
Okay.
That's okay.
So I said the 7 species, yeah, all the 7 species has a special a blessing after, but before all the blessing is borei pri ha'etz, except of 2. One of the 2 that exception.
I don't know that one. Adama and Haaretz.
No, Adama is the fruit of the ground.
Well, we do have a couple of fruit that are technically fruit of the ground. You know, that if you're making a blessing for watermelon, for example.
Yeah, okay, let's just not make it too complicated. Of course, we're talking about wheat is amotzi if it becomes lechem or becomes mezonot. And for the geffen, if you drink or you eat, if you just eat grapes, you do make borei pri ha'etz, but if it becomes wine or grape juice, borei pri ha'gafen. Fine. But after that, there is a special, all of them. If you eat just olives, you bless before borei pri ha'etz, the fruit of the tree.
Yeah.
Not the special blessing me'en shalosh, the third, which is kind of a shortened version of the entire grace after meal, of the entire Birkat Hamazon, which we mentioned as well, the fruit of the land. Al haaretz ve'al peroteh, on the land and its fruit.
I'll send it through to our group, the blessing to our group.
Say yes if you're with me on this. It just was a little note for you to see the importance of the idea is that the rabbis established those blessings because these fruits are special. Therefore, have a special blessing at least after.
And you think it gives us a clue. The blessing that we make afterwards shows the importance. The most important is the bread, because we do the whole Birkat Hamazon. Not as important are the foods that are little snacks, but these ones, the ones that the rabbi is describing and I'll send through the blessing for, they have something that's in between. It's not the short prayer of B'rei Nefashot. It's not the full benching that we have with the bread. It's something in between, and it gives us a clue about how important these are.
So the Gemara here learns, it's called Gzera Shava, learning from the same word that repeats twice, similar. So in here we learn Eretz. Yeah, the Torah emphasized the word Eretz, yeah? Eretz chita u'seora, Eretz zeit shemen u'dvash, the land of wheat and barley, the land of oil and honey. And this is here as well. Vayaki tavo el haaretz. When you come to the land, to the haaretz, to the land, the Gemara says, Ma lehalan mishivat haminim. We learned Eretz has to become the mitzvah of Bikorim, of the first fruit, to bring to the temple, only related to the 7 species. Okay, so I don't know if you knew it or not, but this is the first thing to know. The mitzvah of Bikorim does not relate it to any other fruit except of those that we're going to mention again now, because it's important to know them. Yeah? Which is?
The wheat, the barley, the grape, the fig, the pomegranate, the olives, and the dates.
Yeah, although the Torah says the Eretz Zeit Shemen, yes, so Shemen,
olive oil,
and udvash. Dvash is not just a normal honey here, but date honey. Yeah?
We hear the phrase, the land of milk and honey. You know, we always joke about New Zealand because we think of honey as honey from the bees, but actually this is honey from the dates.
That's right. One of the ways that the Mishnah describe how the fruit was so juicy is that you can go and walk outside and see how like the honey drips from the figs. Yeah? So it's so sweet, it's so juicy that it drips down.
Hence flowing, not just land that has milk and honey.
Fantastic. The other important thing is, look at this. It's not enough just to bring the fruit, right? You're going to the Kohen, you go to verse 3 and you read, Uvata el Kohen, the Kohen that will be on the day, ve'amarta elav, and you shall tell him. Yeah? What you shall tell him. Yeah? Are you all with me? It seems like all of it.
Yeah.
It's just Zoom. It's just Zoom.
Okay. So everybody zoom in and be with me on this. Yeah? You should come to the Kohen and you should make a declaration. Look at this. The Torah emphasizes. The Torah says, ve'amarta elav, you shall tell him, higadeti hayom. Sorry, go back to, of course, page 1069, our Parasha. You shall come to whoever will be the Kohen in those days, and you shall say to him, I declare today, ve'higadeti hayom. Yeah? I should declare. You have to actually express that in your mouth. Yeah?
With your mouth.
With your mouth, sorry.
Yeah.
Higadeti hayom, I declare today.
We're still stuck on the fruit.
To Hashem your God, that I have come to the land. And then you have to repeat the whole story from Arami of Vedavi, like a whole Agadah, the whole Yetziat Mitzrayim, the whole story of the Exodus, until what? Until Ve'ata ve'yavienu lamakom hazeh, verse 9. He brought us to this place.
And he gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And now behold, I have brought the first fruits of the ground that you have given me, O Hashem, and you shall lay it before Hashem your God, and you shall prostrate yourself before Hashem your God.
So what is this expression of Rashi brings it up also very beautifully. Ve'amarta elav, you shall say to him. Yeah, again on verse 3. You shall come to whoever will be the Kohen, and you shall say to him. You shall say to him, I declare. So Rashi says, you shall say to him, she'eincha kfui tova, that you're not ungrateful. You need to say to him, I'm not ungrateful. The whole idea of bringing those fruits, the first fruit, you know, the best fruit, you worked really hard in the land. You bring those fruit and you declare, I'm not ungrateful.
Yeah.
And start the whole story from the beginning of, you know, the beginning of the history of the Jewish people, from the time of Lavan, Arami, Oved Avi, and then all the way down until what? You come to the land. It's even more important to say it now. Right? It's more important now than before.
When you come to the land?
Yeah.
To show that you're not ungrateful.
Sorry?
To show that you're not ungrateful.
Correct. Because it's much easier when you are a slave to recognize, you know, now become a free man. It's easy to recognize that you haven't done anything. You've been, you know, occupied. You were a miserable person.
Or even when you're in the desert and you're dependent for everything.
Yeah.
You know.
So now this is continuation of the entire book of Dvarim, which Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, keep on basically warning the people, yeah, from what? From the biggest sin, so to speak, is that you have everything. Suddenly you've got so much, you've got abundance in the land of Israel. There's so much there. It's very, very easy. What? And you shall forget your Hashem. It's very easy when you have so much to remember where you came from. So when it's the peak of success, you worked hard in the land, you're bringing now the first fruit of the 7 species, the most precious one. Yeah? The most precious fruit. The fruit that the land of Israel were blessed by. Yeah. And you come with that and you declare, I'm not ungrateful. And I'm saying to Hashem, this is yours. And you come and tell the whole story. Okay, this is that. For now, that's just an overview. But the importance, and also the Gemara calls it vidui. Vidui bikurim. It's confession. Yeah? And we know vidui from another place. Where is that? The vidui, the confession.
Yom Kippur.
Yeah. Not when you go to the church. No, that's not one. Vidui, when you come to Yom Kippur, this is one of the mitzvot. You actually have to say it. But Rambam said it's not enough just to fast on Yom Kippur. One of the mitzvot of the day of Yom Kippur is to say it with your mouth and to, make the entire confession. There's the long one where you say, etc., etc. It's important to express that. And you see, again,
makes it active.
Exactly. It's not enough just to bring the fruit. There's all the power of declaration, the power of saying it, the dibur. Speak it.
That's true. And all the stuff in like positive psychology and how you need to name things and label things and say things. Thousands of years we've been doing it. It's all good.
I think it also says this with teshuvah in general, with any sin that one commits. Hey, is that right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
but
every
also
time.
Even prayer, just prayer in general.
Yeah.
We don't think prayer, we say prayer.
If a person brings a korban, that's part of the confession. According to the Rambam, this is where we learn that. Yeah? Okay, fantastic.
So just before we go, may I ask a question? Sure. And it may just be the translation.
Yeah.
I'm back on verse 3 where it says, I declare today to Hashem your God.
Yeah.
Now, in my Kiwi brain, why aren't we saying my God? Why do you say
our God?
Yeah, well, our God. Yeah. Why are we saying to the Kohen Gadol? Why are we to the Kohen? Why are we saying your God?
Yeah, I don't know. Good question.
Is it to be inclusive?
Is Hashem your God? I mean, maybe it's
someone outside the people of Israel who's bringing it.
No, not someone from outside. It's just maybe honoring the Kohen. Hashem, your God. You are a servant of Hashem. I don't know. Good question.
Rabbi, is it because the inheritance of the Kohen was Hashem?
Okay. This is why at the end, look at the end, what you're saying related to the last verse, verse 11.
You shall rejoice with all the goodness that Hashem your God has given you and your household, you and the Levite and the proselyte who is in your.
So,
even if someone doesn't have
also Rashi learns from here, and the Gemara learns from here, that we say the vidui, the confession, so to speak, the declaration of Bikurim, only in times of rejoicement. So it is from Atzeret, from Shavuot, until Sukkot, when it's the time of the harvest, when everything comes in. But if you have somehow, your vine is
at a different pace from the other vines.
That's right. If your vine now is ready, in around Pesach, and you need to bring the Bikurim there, you just bring and you don't make the declaration. The declaration only is said in time of joy, of happiness, right? Zman Simchatenu, correct. Yeah, and of course you rejoice with those who are less fortunate. Yeah, Ata, Valevi. Why is the Levite? What's wrong with the Levi family? Why are they unfortunate? Because they don't inherit a nachala. They have just, they don't have a portion in the land.
Yeah.
Interesting also, the girl, the convert, also according to Rashi, is bringing but is not declaring. Right? Why is that? Interestingly, if he converts, he now obligates him with all the mitzvot. So why he's just bringing, but he's not declaring? Because he can't say la'avotenu. He can't say the word
Our fathers.
our fathers in the beginning. Yeah.
And
the
Aramaean
declaration.
tried to destroy my forefather.
Yeah.
No.
Correct.
Interesting. That's an interesting anecdote.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going from here and we try to think when was a situation that the people of Israel failed in this kind of power of speech or related to fruit to do something which in a way, the Bikurim is correcting it. Any ideas? Let's say a wild guess will...
Think of the fruit of the land.
Yeah, that's correct.
Think of big fruit.
Spies.
Yay!
Yay!
Very good. All right, look at this. Very interestingly,
Fruit, the spies.
one of the reasons that the spies, according to the Chassidut, the reason the spies didn't want to enter the land of Israel is, of course, from the concern that we said before. They said, I mean, if a person works in the land and now he feels that it's all because of his power, of his investment, yeah, it's very easy to forget Hashem. Why? If you're in the desert, what have you got? Everything is provided. You've got manna from the heaven, you've got water from the well that goes with you anywhere. Moshe is striking the rock or talking to the rock, you've got water, you've got everything. You've got abundance. Yeah, you see the miracles on a daily basis. Then there's no concern of forgetting Hashem. Right?
Yeah.
Let's see how actually the manna and the other kind of food that the people of Israel had in the desert is related to here. First of all, we'll go to Parashat Shlach when what are the evidence, so to speak, for the spies to show that the land is bad. What did they bring? What's the evidence?
Fruit.
Fruit.
Fruit. They're bringing fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parashat Shelach, which is on page 800 and
Book of Bamidbar.
800, page 800, 801 in the Artscroll, chapter 13 in Bamidbar, verse 22, 23. Sorry, 23, yeah.
They arrived at the valley of Eshcol and cut from there a vine with one cluster of grapes and bore it on a double
Cluster.
pole.
Yeah,
Of
it's
the
a cluster is
pomegranates.
not something new, you see.
Yeah. And clusters caused problems before.
Right.
And the pomegranates and of the
That
figs.
was cluster one. There's
Yeah.
not cluster.
We're going to call it the spies cluster.
Yeah.
They named that place the Valley of Eshcol because of the cluster that the children of Israel cut from
Okay,
there.
look at this cluster. And Rashi brings why they brought those fruit. Because they were humongous. Instead of seeing the fruit as, you know, when you go to one of the islands, yeah, and you see like a huge coconut or a beautiful, I don't know, mango or something like that, you feel, wow, that's incredible, right? And those spies came and saw the huge vines, the huge pomegranates and figs.
But it's on a creepy level.
And they said, what is this? This is so strange. This is a very strange people there as well. They saw giant. Everything was come
Out of proportion.
out of proportion for them, and therefore they despised the land. Yeah, they didn't want to be to go there. But what are they carrying? What fruit are they bringing?
Grapes.
Grapes
Grape.
and pomegranate.
And pomegranate and
Fig.
figs. Three of the
7.
Bikorim.
7.
Seven.
Where is the rest? Where are the other rest of the? Why they brought this specific 3? You ever thought about it?
Because it wasn't the time of its harvest.
There wasn't the time of the harvest. No, Vayamim Yemei Bikurei Anavim. It was the time. Okay, good answer.
Guess.
It was the days where the season of the first ripe grapes. It was the season, the harvest of the grapes. When is the harvest of the grapes? No idea. I'm not doing wine, but anyone else? Usually summer, isn't it? Anyone?
Sukkot?
Do you have a farm?
Esther, I expect you to know this. You just
We only
consume
drink
the
it. We
grape.
don't pick it.
Yeah, it's summer, early summer.
I think it's summer. Okay.
Cherries are the
So,
same.
the harvest of the wheat is also more or less the same time. Early summer is when you do the harvest of the wheat.
But those were the only three like big fruit.
But we
Unless
don't
they
think they
brought back
brought
an olive
anything
the
else.
size of a
Yeah.
football. Yeah.
They do say in the beginning, this is, yeah,
The olives were bigger back then. That's why we have the measure of a kazayit, which is so much bigger than an actual olive. But that's a side note.
look, they do say in the beginning, Lord, verse 26, yeah? Vayarom et puri haaretz, and they show them the fruit of the land. So they pick these three instead of bringing any other of the 7 species. Yeah, fruit of the land. This is the expression. Puri haaretz, the fruit of the land, the special fruit that is related, and the land of Israel is blessed by. Yeah.
I'm waiting for one of you to say because they're the yummy ones. Like, who wants barley or wheat when you can?
Okay, so look at this. This is really interesting. Let's see. Basically, they had all the other rest already in the desert. Okay, so follow me now. Let's go Parashat Beshalach. And by the way, this is just the little vote of the lesson. So the major part is still to come, or maybe not. We'll see. So we go to Parashat Beshalach. The first time people are complaining about food.
So in the book of Shemot, of Exodus.
Yeah, we go to Parashat Beshalach after the split of the sea. Yeah, we have the people complaining about food. And then, look at this, top of page 385. 385 in the Artscroll, chapter 16, verse 4 in the book of Shemot. Yeah, Jules, are you with Artscroll or Sunsino?
Sunsino.
Okay, so you found the place? 16:4. Yeah?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah?
Okay.
What is that?
Hashem said to Moses, behold, I shall rain down for you food from heaven. Let the people go out and pick each day's portion on its day.
Okay, stop. This is wrong. What is the translation? What is the word in Hebrew? Go to number 4. What is the translation in the Sunsino? Jules?
No, I can't find it. Sorry.
Verse 4. Verse 4.
Parashat
Chapter 16.
Beshalach.
Chapter 16 in the book of Shemot.
Yeah.
What is the verse?
Chapter 16, 4. No, it's not 4.
What?
Do you say verse 4?
Chapter 16, verse 4 in Parashat Beshalach.
Okay, now I'm on it. Chapter. Sorry, I was on chapter 14. Right, chapter 16.
Yeah.
How do they translate it?
Oh, cause rain. Is that the one? Oh,
Yeah.
cause rain. Bread from heaven.
To Moses, what?
Then the Lord said unto Moses, behold, I will cause to rain bread from heaven.
Thank you very much. Sunsino, much better than Artscroll. And in lechem.
What do I
What's
I
lechem?
always
Lechem,
say to you
yeah.
guys? Every
Lechem.
translation is an interpretation.
Yeah. So the literally meaning of lechem is, of course, bread.
Mm.
Yeah. What is bread made of?
Wheat.
Wheat.
Bread.
Unless it's gluten-free.
As well.
Unless it's gluten-free.
Yeah.
Unless it's
Where's
gluten-free.
Karen?
But that's the idea of bread. They want this is what they know. Must be. This is what they receive. Kind of a bread of wheat. This is a bit of a stretch, but that's the idea. Lechem. All right.
So the spies
So we have
can't bring
wheat and barley. We agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. What about what are missing now? We have wheat and barley. We have
Dvash.
okay. We have pomegranates,
Pomegranate, figs,
and
grapes,
and figs.
And olives
and
What
grapes.
are we missing?
and
olive
barley.
and
Okay, so
Joe
still
said the dvash.
okay.
Yeah,
Still in the parasha. Still in Parashat Beshalach. Look at verse.
Chapter 16.
Still chapter 16, verse 31.
The house of Israel called it manna. It was like coriander seed. It was white and it tasted like a cake fried in
Honey.
honey.
right? So the manna also had kind of a taste of honey as well. So wheat and honey and whatever you want. Although, of course, the Midrash said they could taste any flavor. Yeah, they could imagine they have a steak that will be in the manna. Yeah.
Butter chicken.
Sorry?
Butter chicken.
Butter chicken. Butter.
Hey, you're quiet.
Can I ask a question? If they said they could taste every flavor in it, why did they then come back and say that they wanted meat? I always thought it was because they couldn't get the taste.
Because I'll answer with a question.
Okay.
When you see in the supermarket, like a fake meat, soy.
Vegan.
Oh, it's great! Yeah,
Yes.
the Beyond Burger, it's delish.
Compare it to a real juicy steak. Is that the
Oh,
same?
I have to say, have you had it? It's really good.
I know, but it's far
It's
away
not
from
the
the real
same.
thing.
Well,
So I guess it's not the same until you see the steak on your plate.
Okay.
So you can imagine
Fair.
it might be the same. Yeah? Might be
You're
the
making me
same.
regret my tofu for dinner.
Absolutely. So yeah, that could be the idea. They wanted to see a real meat, you know. Obviously, they found a reason to complain, but it's not the same. We had a class about that. I don't know if it's recorded. We talked about the slab a few months ago. One of the parashot. Anyway, we move on. So we found also the honey, and then look at this in Parashat Be'alotcha. We go to Parashat Be'alotcha, page 789.
Jules, it's Bamidbar 11.
Bamidbar 11. Yeah. And now the people again complaining about the manna, and they remember, you know, all the beautiful food they had in Egypt, yeah? The onions and the garlic, fantastic, fabulous. And look at this, verse 8, yeah?
The people would stroll.
Sorry, chapter 11 in Bamidbar, verse 8. Jules, for you, yeah?
The people would stroll and gather it and grind it in a mill or pound it in a mortar and cook it in a pot or make it into cakes. And its taste was like the taste of dough kneaded with oil.
So look at this.
Oil.
Interestingly, so all the other flavors or the taste of the 7 species were already provided. So the spies are coming back with grapes, with pomegranates, and with figs. Yeah. So what their sin with a speech against the land of Israel? What is the correction? A person comes with the 7 species to the land of Israel and comes to declare, Hashem, I'm not ungrateful. Hashem,
I have
faith. Thank you for all you provided. It's not because I'm so smart and strong and I worked hard in the land of Israel, but it's because of your blessing. Yeah, that's what you bring from the first fruit. And look at this in Parashat Chukat. One more thing before we move to the next one. In Parashat Chukat, the same parasha is Moshe Rabbeinu. Ultimately, what did he do? What was Moshe's sin that made him not come into the land of Israel?
He hit the rock.
He, instead of
Speaking to it.
instead of speaking to the rock, right? And this is what happened later on. The people complaining. Look at this, chapter 21.
Book of Numbers.
Book of Numbers, chapter 21, page 849. Yeah. Page 849, verse 5. Yeah.
The people spoke against God and against Moses. Why did you bring us up from Egypt to die in this wilderness? For there is no food.
Again, food, not food here, but look at the Hebrew. Ki ein lechem.
No bread.
No bread. Yeah.
Bread.
And
V'ein mayim, no water. And our soul is disgusted with the insubstantial food.
Balechem aklokel. Again, food here, it should be lechem, it should be a bread. Jules, are you with us? You found the verse?
No, what chapter?
Sorry, chapter 21 in Bamidbar.
21.
It's Parashat Chukat.
Yeah, 21 verse 5.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
And here again, the people are complaining about the lack of the food. They call it the disgust. They are disgust with the insubstantial bread, substantial food, insubstantial bread. So Moshe, I mean, this is the whole situation. Moshe Rabbeinu thought this is already in the 40th year. Moshe Rabbeinu thinking that what caused him actually to hit and not to talk. He thought the people now are again returning to the beginning. The same way as the spies.
Have they learned nothing?
They've learned nothing. This is what caused him to hit the rock instead of talking to the rock, which ultimately the correction is when you come to the land of Israel. Look at this. This is now a full circle. When you come to the land of Israel, the correction is a good speech. You have to declare, you have to be grateful. Yeah. Jules can tell you all about his diary and how much he's grateful, and he writes in the diary every single day.
Kay also does.
Okay, so that's really, really important.
Yeah.
That's really comes to
we often see this when it comes to the tikkun, you know, how we do a correction, how we make something complete or right, you know, that whatever was wrong, the solution needs to be appropriate for whatever the problem was. And so we see that over and over again when it comes to Torah.
Okay, so this was a little nice midrash, and like, it's not midrash, but I mean, I'm saying a little word, kind of saying that there is definitely a connection between the sin of the spies, yeah, with the food they brought, and the misuse of what they did with the fruit, to the correction of how we should treat the fruit and how should we perform the mitzvah with the right speech. Fantastic. Let's go. There's another sin in the midst of everything. Yes, Jules?
I'm a little unclear as to, you've used the word, I am not ungrateful. Why not say, go over that again, why not say, I am grateful?
You said both. ואמרת אליו, and Rashi just emphasized, because look at this. The Torah uses like a double...
Negative.
No, not negative.
Oh.
Same phrase in different words.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's read this again. The Torah says, ואמרת אליו, and you should tell him, I don't have now the page, here, good. Verse 3 in Parashat Kitzavo, yeah? Where is verse 3? You shall come to whoever will be the Kohen, and you shall say to him,
I declare today.
I declare, look at this, ואמרת אליו, I shall say to him, והגדתי היום. You shall say to him, and this is what I'm saying. Why do you need to say that? Yeah? So on the one hand, I'm saying I'm not ungrateful. I am grateful. This is what I'm going to say. So in both ways, this is like emphasizing it so much. You see it?
Yeah.
I should tell to him, and this is what I'm saying. Why do you need to say that? just okay, and you tell him. That's it. You see it or not, Jules?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. So now, let's think of another situation of a sin. Maybe someone can really think hard of a situation when there was an opportunity to bring maybe fruit or something really good and it went really wrong.
Cain and Abel.
Wow! Bang! Woohoo!
Give that man a whiskey.
Give him carrot juice. L'chaim, fantastic.
100 points.
100 points. Okay, let's go to the beginning, and you'll see, I'll find you some amazing parallels between this parasha and the story of Cain and Abel. And let's go to chapter 4 in the book of Bereshit, which is really, really the beginning. Maybe it's already giving us the idea of using the name, yeah? Verse 2 in our parasha, what did we say? Sorry, before you go to chapter 4, just to give you an indication of maybe this is the clue. In our parasha, we started in verse 2.
So it's if you're flipping back and forth, page 1069.
So keep it open on our parasha in chapter 26, and also chapter 4 in the book in Bereshit. And then we say what? You shall take of the first of every fruit. ולקחת מראשית.
Where's that?
So it said מראשית. So it didn't say from the Bikurim?
They're trying to find page 1069, Deuteronomy Devarim 26.
1069.
Well, that's our Parasha in Kitavo. Just again, we're returning to Parashat Kitavo just to start our hint.
Keep
the first
a
hint.
finger on that page or a ribbon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so לקחתם בראשית כל פרי האדמה, and you shall take of the first of every fruit. The Torah didn't say Bikurim, take Bikurim. The first בראשית, from the first of every fruit. Reshit reminds us the word
Bereshit.
Bereshit, maybe. Again, all this open as well. And let's read chapter 4, verse 1. And
Now the man had known his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have acquired a man with Hashem. And additionally, she bore his brother Abel. Over the page. Abel became a shepherd, and Cain became a tiller of the ground. After a period of time, Cain brought an offering to Hashem of the fruit of the ground. And as for Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock from their choicest. Hashem turned to Abel and his offering, but to Cain and to his offering he did not turn. This annoyed Cain exceedingly, and his countenance fell. Dun, dun, dun.
Right. Yeah, go on. I'll tell you, yeah.
Okay. And Hashem said to Cain, why are you annoyed, and why has your countenance fallen? Surely if you improve yourself, you will be forgiven. But if you do not improve yourself, sin rests at the door. Its desire is towards you, yet you can conquer it.
Okay, let's stop here before we know what was the result. But there are quite a few questions here. And I think last year we had a class on Tshuva and Cain and Hevel.
Yeah.
That's not, if anyone was there and remember, that's fine. But we're going to talk about a different angle, not about the Tshuva of Cain, not about the return and the way he explained his sin or not. But let's see why Hashem, the major question here, why Hashem accepted the offering of Hevel, but not the offering of Cain.
Okay.
Yeah? Does the Torah gives us a reason? Let's read it again. Let's read these verses again from the beginning.
Okay, so back to page 20.
Was it because Abel bought the best that he had?
Who brought
He bought the best that he had? Like
Abel.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sorry. Who's talking? Esther.
Yeah,
Esther.
I'm
Okay.
asking a question. Is that why?
Is that why what?
Is the reason that Hashem favored Abel's offering is that Abel brought the best that he had, like the cream of the crop of the lambs.
That's very good, but how do we see that? That the same says that the Torah says why? This is what you're right, but I want to emphasize the question even more. Yeah, before we get to there, what does the Torah say?
After a period of time, Cain brought an offering to Hashem of the fruit of the ground.
Yeah.
And as for Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and from their choicest.
One is choicest, and one is any old fruit of the ground.
Okay. What was the work of Cain? What was the work of Hevel?
So Hevel became
a shepherd,
and
Cain worked the ground.
Yeah.
And Cain worked the ground. Right. And then what? Okay, so what happened? Let's see what happened. Hashem accepted Hevel's offering, but not Cain. Yeah? And then Cain, what is the reaction?
Cain spoke with his brother Hevel, and it happened that when they were in the field...
No, before that, on verse 6.
Oh, sorry. And Hashem said to Cain, why are you annoyed, and why has your countenance fallen? Surely if you improve yourself, you will be forgiven.
Hashem already reaching out to him before any reaction.
Yes.
Face, yeah?
Yeah.
Hashem feels his anger or he's been upset, yeah? And his countenance fell and his face fell down, yeah? Fell down. And Hashem says to him, why? Again, without going into the details and understanding exactly what Hashem says to him, he said to him, listen, you've got an opportunity, something you don't like, without Hashem, don't give a reason here. Hashem doesn't give a reasoning why he accepted Hevel's offering but not Cain.
He just says, improve yourself.
He said, listen. And it's good for us because we always it's a message for us as well. When we see something that seems to be injustice, we automatically try to, find other ways how Hashem has actually acted justly. Yeah? Because we are judging Hashem's ways in moral...
With our lens.
In human world. Yeah? But the truth of the matter, it actually doesn't matter. If Hashem says it's not good, that's technically what he should feel. Okay, so somehow Hashem didn't like it. I mean, I'm not saying it's satisfying, but the beginning, just for us, to understand that we can't judge Hashem's ways in humans' eyes.
Yeah.
It's another way to look at it is in Parashat Vayera. Yeah? Look at this in Parashat Vayera.
So we're in Bereshit, chapter 18.
What is the duty? What is the duty that Hashem already destined Abraham and his children? Look at page 81 in the Artscroll, chapter 18, verse 18. Chai, in Bereshit, yeah? That's before the story of Sodom, yeah? Abraham is also, of course, Abraham could say, Hashem, I don't understand Hashem's ways. I'm not arguing. But he did argue, which is great. But look at this.
Now that Abraham is surely to become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall bless themselves by him. For I have loved him, because he commands his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of Hashem, doing charity and justice, in order that Hashem might then bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken to him.
So what is the duty of Abraham? Look,
excuse me, I need the page. I haven't got the page yet.
Sorry, that's page 81 at the very bottom and continues on to page 83 if you're in the Artscroll door. If you're not, we're in Parashat Vayera, 18:18.
Like this one, I've run out of papers.
18:18.
Can use Warren. You can use Warren.
Okay.
Abraham.
It's really interesting to see.
Welcome back, Sophia.
When we talk about justice and kindness, yeah? Look again. So Hashem says to Abraham, shall I conceal from Abraham what I do? Now that Abraham is surely to become a great and mighty nation, and all the nation of the earth shall be blessed themselves by him, for I have loved him. Because he what? What is duty? Commands his children and his household after him that they keep the way of Hashem, doing charity and justice. What is the charity and justice? In what relation is it? Is it in what relation is the charity of justice?
Other people.
By keeping Hashem's way.
Yeah.
Charity of justice, but doing derech Hashem. So it could be justice and kindness in the eyes of people, which is completely different.
Yeah.
Kindness of justice in derech Hashem means in the eyes of the Torah.
Yeah.
So this is a great definition for all of us to always remember that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Not enough to just be kind, New Zealand.
Yeah, it's not enough. It has to be said well with derech Hashem, with the ways of Hashem, with the ways of the Torah, which is really beautiful. Okay, and then, again, this is on the spiritual realm, and still we need to understand, and it's not enough. And now we need to, whenever we can. I mean, if we can't, we can't. It doesn't say the Torah is wrong. We don't have the sechel, we don't have the mind to explain. But wherever we can, we should. See the difference?
And again, the Jewish way is just because you don't understand doesn't mean you're exempt from continuing to try. Fine, there are things that are beyond our comprehension, but it doesn't mean we should give up on trying to understand them.
Right. Okay, so let's go back. And Esther said correctly. Let's go back to the story on page 21. And so, and so let's look at the definition in what are the work. What was the profession? Sorry.
Okay, so we've got Abel became a shepherd and Cain became a tiller of the ground. All good.
What's this? Yeah. Okay. Let's see what Rashi says, which is interesting.
Are we on the question as to why Hashem accepted Abel and not Cain?
Yeah. What is the answer?
Maybe it's because Abel brought the firstling.
Abel brought
Cain didn't. Cain didn't bring of the first fruit.
Okay, so that's exactly what also Esther said. Let's see. Okay, let's find this and then go even deeper. So really, the Torah says, the Torah didn't give us much information about what Cain brought, just the one that he brought from Mipri Adama. He brought from offering to Hashem of the fruit of the ground. What's the fruit of the ground? Did he bring vegetables?
No.
Any fruit of the ground, right? Could be fruit, could be vegetable. It's a general name. Yeah?
Yeah.
Interestingly, if you go back to our Parasha, yeah? What is the
1069?
Yeah, back to Parasha. So hold this again. And the Torah says in verse 2, "V'lakachta mereshit kol pri ha'adama," and you shall take of the first of every fruit of the ground. These two phrases of pri adama, there's other places say pri admatcha, the fruit of your, your fruit of the ground. But pri adama is two words expression is unique in only these two places in the whole Torah.
So for those who are new to the class, whenever we see a phrase repeated in different places, we need to look what's the connection, because that'll help inform the meaning. Ways we elucidate what's in the Torah.
Again, Pri Adama, it's not like the blessing that we say, Bore Pri Adama, related only to like vegetables, or Pri Adama is a general name for all fruit, all produce, I would say. Right? But this is unique. But what exactly he brought from the fruit of the ground, we don't know. But look how much, someone is standing here.
Interested, just tired.
Yeah, and then the Torah spent quite a few words to tell us what Hevel brought. Yeah? What Hevel brought? We're back to page 21, chapter 4, verse 3. Jules?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah? The Torah tells us that Cain brought
an offering to Hashem of the fruit of the ground.
Cain,
And for Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and from their choicest.
All right. So, although we don't know much about Cain, but in contrast, Hevel did bring from his firstling the best of his flock. Yeah. Usually, the young and the what can you do as a shepherd in the time of Gan Eden, the time of what can you do? What do you do with the meat? What do you do with the flock?
Burnt offering.
What?
You roast it.
Roast it.
Offer it to Hashem.
We're allowed to eat meat at this stage in creation.
When do we start to eat meat?
After the flood.
After the
flood.
Very good.
So what's the use of having flock? What?
So it'll be a burnt offering. Offering to Hashem.
Offering to Hashem. Okay.
Choicest of fattest.
But
wool?
For wool. Okay, Esther, this is for your knitting.
I knit.
There's no maybe it could be for the milk as well, right? But the main thing would be actually for the wool, probably, because you can't eat meat yet. So I'll ask you another question. What did Cain do?
Or feta cheese.
What's better? Like for the deli, we've got new cheeses in from Australia, everybody, including feta.
So what's Cain?
Oh yes.
Cain's profession? What was Cain's profession?
What was his job?
Fruit of the ground.
Soil.
What?
Tiller of the
Tilling
ground.
the soil.
He's a farmer, right?
Okay, so I'll ask you a question. How is that even possible? Look at this. Rashi says Hevel was ro'etzon, was a shepherd. Rashi says the fishenit kalela adama. If I remind you, go one page before. Yeah. What happened to the ground? After
It was cursed.
it was cursed.
Did not
What
yield
was the
its
curse?
fruit.
Good.
What was the curse? Yes, I guess.
Not
Blood
yield its
of
fruit.
Abel. Blood of Abel crying out to Hashem.
What?
He's talking also about the earth, the blood of Abel crying out to Hashem is then the next reference we have with the ground.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
The ground would not give its fruit.
So what's the purpose of Cain? So look at this. Rashi says Abel became a shepherd because the ground was cursed.
Yeah.
Right? The ground was cursed. Therefore, Rashi says, because the ground, the land was cursed, he had to forgo, yeah? Forgo the work of the land because it's useless. What actually, it will come out, something will come out. What will come out from it in the curse? Look at page, go one page back, page 19.
Thorns and thistles.
Yes.
Yeah. Thorns and thistles.
So,
where does it say thorns and thistles?
If you go to
go
page
to
19,
the top of page 19.
where Jules, where chapter 3, chapter 3,
verse 17. Yeah. This is the curse after the first man ate from the wrong tree.
And then
which him maybe also related.
at the beginning of verse 18, we see thorns and thistles shall it sprout for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field.
So what's happening now? You can't do anything with the land.
Yeah.
So why is Cain bringing what? I mean, if he can't bring anything, there's why Hashem is complaining about it. Why Hashem is accepted Abel's offering and not Cain?
Is it his fault if the ground won't bring anything?
And the fact that he brought something is also really, really beautiful, because otherwise, what can he bring? Yeah?
He's foraging.
Interesting. What?
Foraging, you're looking for things.
What? Who said that? What do you mean?
Foraging, looking for things, like he's making most of.
But the Torah says he brought from Priya Adama, from the fruit of the land.
So what could he have done?
That's what I'm asking.
Did he bring thorns and thistles?
No, absolutely not. He
brought herbs.
Hashem didn't accept him, right?
Yeah.
His offering.
For the record, if you come to the class, don't bring thorns or thistles either. No thorns or thistles.
Right.
Just pomegranates.
Yeah.
Figs, dates.
Okay. So Rashi says that Cain brought mipri adama, from the fruit of the ground. Rashi says min hagarua. This is what all you knew how to quote. That Abel brought the firstling, the best, the choicest, right? But Abel brought min hagarua, the worst one of his fruit. Yeah. And Rashi says bring Cain, sorry. And Rashi says bring the midrash. Ve'esh agada shomeret zera pishtan haya. So he brought linen, which is really interesting, because if Abel, we said, raised his flock for what?
Wool.
Then Cain that planted the seeds of the linen, they can't come together, right? No, but shatnez.
Wool and linen can mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see that? It's really, really beautiful. So obviously they had to work on different things, not related. But maybe this is actually forcing us to say something, maybe that's a complete genius, which I've heard from my rabbi. When was this sin? When was this whole argument and discussion? Where is it? In the timeline. In the timeline. Was it after? Where was it?
After the Garden of Eden.
Was it in the Garden of Eden or no?
After.
Okay, so I want to argue that, and again, that's not my chidush. That's my rabbi, and he didn't see it anywhere else.
Chidush and insight, new idea. Yeah.
It's actually telling us that actually that was still in Garden of Eden. Look at this. Let's go inside. And chapter 4, again, why, one of the reasons, and this is not, he says, I'm telling you, he can't bring from the fruit of the ground because of the curse if it's after. Yeah? He can't bring. If you go quickly to the end of Parashat Bereshit, Noach, when you introduce with Noach at the end of Parashat Bereshit, why it was called Noach, look at chapter 5, verse 29. No, sorry, verse... verse 29.
Okay.
Yeah, chapter
Page-
5, verse 29.
Page 27. Lamech lived 182 years and
29.
begot a son,
29.
and he called his name Noah,
Yeah.
saying, "This one will bring us rest from our work and from the toil of our hands, from the ground which Hashem has cursed."
Right, look at this. Noah, Rashi brings again the Gemara in the Midrash, that why Noah was called suddenly, Noah means comfort, yeah? He was the first one to introduce the plowing, yeah? The machine that actually now can produce something from the land. Until Noah, nobody could bring anything out of the land because of the curse. So he was the first one to build machresha, how do you say?
Plow.
Yeah? Means that Noah was the first one, you know, we're talking about prehistory, right? So he was the first one to build anything, yeah, to be able to come out, to bring forth from the land fruit, yeah? So all in this time that they put the seed of the wheat, nothing came out, just thorns, right? Until Noah. So means that again, if you go back, if we say that Cain was after the explosion from Gan Eden, what did he bring? He couldn't bring thorns. Okay? You with me on this?
So the
Yeah.
idea before is, when did this take place?
Right. So let's go back to chapter 4, beginning of chapter 4, and see another things.
Now, the man had known his wife Eve. So we're on page 19.
Yeah.
At the bottom. Now, the man had known his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, "I have acquired a man with Hashem." And additionally, she bore his brother
Okay,
Abel.
let's see the names here. That what happened here? The beginning of chapter 4. Now the man had known his wife Eve, yeah, and she conceived and bore Cain. Right? And now she named him, yeah. So Cain is what? Cain. Cain is the firstborn.
Born.
Cain was born first.
Yeah, first.
Right. When Cain and Abel brought the stuff, who brought first? What?
Hey,
Right?
Cain
Brought first.
That's actually not really clear. Yeah? Arguably, we can say that they actually brought the same at the same time.
Same.
Yeah? Let's go before that, 1 second. Chava named Cain.
Chava Eve.
Yeah, Chava Eve named Cain. Why? Why she named it? What's the reason for his name? Kaniti Ishet Hashem. Saying, I've acquired a man with Hashem.
Cain Kaniti.
Yeah, Cain Kaniti, acquired. Kinyan, acquisition. Not inquisition. Right? So, what is missing here? Kaniti Ishet Hashem. What did she say?
Let's go Adam.
What? Next verse is actually missing. What's missing is the next verse. In the next verse, Vatosef ledded, and she bore another brother, Abel.
Yeah.
And what is missing?
What's the meaning of his name?
Yeah.
Ah.
Abel is not named. I mean, he's named Abel, but why? What's the reason for his name? In contrast to Cain, that we know she kind of what? There was an acquisition. She bore with Hashem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here, just Abel. Interesting.
Yeah.
Then Rashi said something really interesting. Rashi says on verse 1, Ve'adam yada, Rashi says, Ve'kvar kodem ha'inyan shemala. So when Cain and Abel were born, and what stage again?
We're saying in Gan Eden.
According to Rashi, yes, because look at this. The way the Torah phrase it, Ve'adam yada et chava ishto. Already knew her.
Does that mean that they were born without pain and childbirth?
They already, yes, apparently. They already been born in Gan Eden. Yeah? Because Rashi says, this is not necessarily just written here after the story. It's just coming back to the story from before. קודם שחטא ונטרד בגן עדן. That happened before Adam and Eve sinned and were expelled from Gan Eden. וכן אהרון בלידה. So there was no childbirth, Esther, sorry. In those times, they were completely unemployed. Where is she?
Redundant.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So so Cain and Abel were born with no labor, no hard labor. Yeah?
Lucky Eve.
Right. And then, so if it, again, this the same phrase, but already knew, yeah? A man had known his wife, yeah? Maybe, it's easy for me to explain to you the Hebrew. I'm not so good. I don't have enough English to explain the verb, the grammar here in English. Had known, I assume. Otherwise, man knew his wife. Why the Torah says had known? Yeah, it's already happened. It's not the time now. Do you see that? Makes sense?
But if you go back to verse 16,
yeah,
that's where it said to the woman, he said, I'll increase your suffering and your childbearing.
We know that the Torah isn't always in chronological
But I'm saying
order.
here, already Rashi tells us that when they gave birth, had known already. That's happened already. Now you can say, okay, Rashi actually says after that.
It doesn't say, and then she knew her husband.
Yeah.
It basically says the birth happened in Gan Eden, but the argument, the quarrel between them, and then he killed him, that happened after. We can claim and argue that everything happened before. And we'll see that. Yeah? And also, look at this on verse 4. This is what we're trying to do. After a period of time. What's after a period of time?
Page 21.
Yeah, after a period of time, Cain brought an offering. And then what the Torah says, Vehevel hevi gam hu. And as for Abel, he also brought. What is the time here? What is also brought? When?
It looks like he brought it after.
No, it's actually look like
Same
maybe
time?
at the same time. Not necessarily brought after. It should say, and after that, Abel brought. Then it will say
after.
Right? After. And after Cain brought, Abel brought.
So very often when we have something repeated unnecessarily, it's to add value to both.
Yeah, to the time. We have to realize when was the time.
But it could have said, if they were at the same time, it could have said Cain and Abel brought offerings. But it says Cain and it says Abel. And usually when we repeat that kind of thing, there's value. Like we just read about each of the tribes, a while back, just read about each of the tribes bringing exactly the same thing, but we read each one because we're offerings brought.
Yeah. So again, I'm not saying, arguably we can interpret it as if also already happened as well in Gan Eden. And why it's important, look at this. Also, there's some beautiful parallels. Yeah? Go on verse 6, verse 7. Without, again, Hashem saying, before the punishment that is going away and before he killed him.
Surely, if you improve yourself, you will be forgiven. But if you do not improve yourself, sin rests at the door. Its desire is towards you, yet you can conquer it.
Right. That reminds us another verse that we read maybe a page before.
To your grave, your sin will be kept.
Oh, you got Dad, read us the translation you've got.
Look at this verse, especially the second part of the verse. And sin rests at the door. Its desire is toward you. You can conquer it. I think it's called about
eating the apple.
What?
Eating the apple.
What?
Eating the apple.
Eating the apple.
Or
in the honey.
fruit. Yeah.
Eating the apple with the honey. Let's go back.
So we've got the festival of Rosh Hashanah coming up,
Everyone
where it's
understood.
traditional to dip apple in the honey.
I don't think you need to explain my jokes, darling. It's well.
We got it. Just before we go backwards.
Wait. Before you go, you just Diane, 1 minute.
Yes, I can wait.
Explain the joke in detail. You know that.
No, look at this. Look at verse 15. Before that, what is the punishment to the wife, to the mom? Yeah.
I will put enmity between you and the woman, and you should.
No. Here.
Your offspring and
16, sorry. To the woman he said,
To the woman he said, I will greatly increase your suffering and your childbearing.
this is why you have work.
In pain shall you bear
Esther?
children,
Yeah?
yet your craving shall be for your
Your
husband.
craving shall be your husband, and he shall rule over you. Look at this. And what's the verse here? Yeah? Very similar, yeah? It's designed towards you, and yet you can conquer it. In the Hebrew, it's the same. You see this? Everybody?
Ah.
Right. One more thing. Maybe a couple. Let's see this. Okay. And then what is the after that? After he killed him, on verse 11.
So we're middle of page 21, chapter 4, verse 11.
Verse 11.
Therefore you are cursed more than the ground, which opened wide its mouth to
Varghese, you
receive
mentioned
your
that,
brother's
right?
blood from your hand.
Right? You mentioned that you curse from the ground.
Yeah.
The word cursed in Hebrew is arur, yeah? Which in Parasha Kitzavot, all the klalot, it starts with arur, you are cursed, yeah? Is that reminding us something else before?
The ground was cursed.
Not only the ground, but also from the snake. Look at this, 14.
So
Go before verse 14.
So that's page 17.
Yeah.
And Hashem's God said to the serpent, because you have done this thing, accursed are you
Mikol ha'behema.
beyond all the...
And here it says, arur ata, you're cursed from all the beasts. And after Cain killed Abel, arur ata min adama, you are cursed from all the ground, from the ground. Very similar phrases. You see it, everybody?
Yeah.
Joel, say yes if you're with us.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. And now look at this. Let's see another interesting thing. Yeah? When Cain is been, what's his punishment? After he killed Abel, what's his punishment now?
No.
No, well taken.
Wonder to...
Yeah, verse 12.
Behold, you have banished me this day from the face of the earth. Can I be hidden from your presence? I must become a vagrant and a wanderer on earth.
Where does he go?
Whoever meets me will kill me.
Right. Where does he go? 14. Go to 14.
14 we just read. Behold, you have banished me this day
Okay,
from the
banished
face of the earth.
me. The word is, and gerashta oti hayom. You are banished me, you dispersed me. Gerashta oti. What is this? What is the curse for the man? Look at this.
So Hashem banished him from the Garden of Eden.
Wow. So could be those two stories all happened in Gan Eden. Yeah? This story of the sin of Adam and Chava versus the sin of Cain, yeah?
Yeah.
Started from a tree or from a fruit of the ground that we still need to find out what is that. Look at another interesting one. Another parallel. And then where is Cain now going? The bottom of the page, verse 15, 16. Yeah?
So
the last verse of the
21
page.
and we're going over to 23. Cain left the presence of Hashem and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden.
What's Cain left from the presence of Hashem?
How can you do that?
Yeah.
Hashem must be Gan Eden.
Yeah.
If Hashem so close, it must be Gan Eden. The presence of Hashem, and where to? The land of Nod, east of Eden. So when you think about Gan Eden, this is not in heaven. When we talk about Gan Eden, maybe after our Neshamot, that's the place. But technically, and the Midrash relate to Gan Eden, to the land of Israel. And the actual place of Gan Eden is even Jerusalem, according to some. Yeah? This is the center of the world, Gan Eden. Yeah. All look back to where is placed. Back to page 19, verse 22. Yeah.
So Hashem, God, banished him from the Garden of Eden to work the soil from which he was taken, and having driven out the man, he stationed at the east of the Garden of Eden.
The east of Garden of Eden. So it's not that he moved from heaven to the earth. This is all on earth. This is, Gan Eden is a place. Yeah? Gan Eden is the place.
The place.
Right.
Wow.
Now,
So how can we also talk about heaven as Gan Eden? Is it just because it's so
because
wonderful?
that's also a reflection. The Or HaChaim talks about the Bikurim as a reflection. Once you come to the land, after our time here, we're also coming to a land. Our neshama comes to a final place.
And is it because of the closeness to Hashem?
So this is in the physical world, Gan Eden is Eretz Israel. Yeah. In the spiritual realm, yeah, our duty is in this land, and after that, our neshama goes to Gan Eden, to a kind of a parallel level, which is the world of the neshamot, which is again.
Is it? I mean, it's
This
beyond
is
the
not
scope of the lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Right.
It's interesting.
And look at last two things, I hope, and then we'll wrap it all up. But remember, right? How is Adam named his wife in the beginning? Yeah, look at this, page 14, 15, chapter 2, verse 22. Chapter 2, verse 22.
Then Hashem God fashioned the side that he had taken from the man into a woman, and he brought her to the man, and the man said, This time it is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This shall be called woman, for from man she was taken.
Okay, so this is something precious. She's part of me. Yeah, it says the man. Isha, part of the ish, yeah, is part of my flesh. It feels really, really connected. What happened after the sin? After the sin, look at this.
There's tension.
Look at this. Again, page 19, verse 20. After all Hashem banished them, and Hashem says to him, what? Adam says, look at this. So the top of the page 19, verse 17. Chapter 3, verse 17, Jules.
To Adam he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife and ate of the tree about which I commanded you, saying you shall not eat of it. Accursed is the ground.
Okay, curse the ground again.
Through
right?
suffering you shall eat
Which,
of
like
it
in
all
Cain
the
as well,
days
curses
of your
the
life.
ground.
Thorns and thistles shall it sprout for you,
yeah.
and you shall eat the herb of the field. By the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread until you return to the ground
and now what?
from which you were taken. For you are dust, and to dust you return.
20.
The man called his wife's name Hava.
Why?
Because she had become the mother of all the living.
What happened? But she already had a name, Isha.
Why?
Yeah.
You named her before. You're part of my flesh. Why needs to name her now Chava, Eve? Did you ever think about it?
Never.
No.
No. Another name suddenly. He called it. Here's the one. Not Hashem. Hashem didn't call her Isha. Hashem brought her to him. Yeah. ויבן השם אלוהים את הצלה שלקח מן האדם לאישה, לאיש שלה, to the man. And then, לזאת תקרא אישה. Yeah. So he already named it. ויאמר האדם, זאת, Adam says, in the beginning she's Isha, and now she's because in the beginning, before the sin, he felt acquisition. He felt he's part of this accumulation of Isha. And after the sin, you realize his place. Now, what is she named after?
The mother of all the living.
He's going to make after about her children.
Yeah.
He's not, I mean, of course, he has a part in it. Yeah. And this is what also happened to, after that, to Chava. When she named Cain, she felt acquisition. The firstborn, it's mine. The second one is not as important, maybe. So she didn't name it. Yeah? First one, Cain, is all about acquisition. It's mine. I've worked so hard. I'm partnered with Hashem. The firstborn is mine. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
Been there, done that.
Right. It's not
Middle,
anymore.
Middle child syndrome.
Not anymore. So look at this. Now, let's see what was the duty of Adam to do in Gan Eden. What was his duty? Look at this. Go to page 13. We are now chapter 2, verse 15. Chapter 2, verse 15 for you, Jules. Yeah.
Hashem God took the man and placed him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to guard it.
What's to work it in the Ovda? To work it and to guard it. It actually can be really parallel. I mean, I know the famous Rashi brings the famous Gemara לעובדה, that's the active mitzvot, the positive mitzvot, mitzvot aseh, לעובדה, ולשומרה is the negative mitzvot, which you need to
keep,
guard, and not to do. לא תרצח, should not kill, right? Active mitzvah, to do something, keep Shabbat, put tefillin, brit milah, whatever, yeah?
And this quote.
And the negative mitzvot, leshomra, to guard, is those we should avoid doing. By not stealing, I'm doing a constant mitzvah 24/7.
Yeah.
Right. But literally, what does it mean? Well, let's talk the work of Cain and Abel. Cain was doing what? The work of the ground.
Yeah.
Actively kept
tilling the ground.
And what was Abel doing? He kept the flock.
Yeah.
He kept the flock. He couldn't do any much, but guarding the flock. What's being a shepherd means? Guarding the flock, right? So it's beautifully those two works. Yeah.
To work and to guard.
What's that?
I just said to work and to guard.
Work and to guard.
One was the worker and one was the guarder.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, let's review.
It's late.
Yeah. Cain, and then this is what the Mitzvah of Bikorim trying now basically to repair. Cain and basically also Adam, we can say, yeah? And when they were in Gan Eden, they also had to work in the land, in Gan Eden, to bring all those fruit up. And instead of, as you all said, Cain didn't bring the best of the fruit, while Abel brought the Bechorot, the first of his flock. He brought it to Hashem. Yeah?
Yeah.
Instead of that, didn't bring. Yeah? So comes the Torah now years after, when you come to the land of Israel, which you kind of returning to Gan Eden.
Yeah.
You are now secret, a long secret of thousands of years, not thousands, but I don't know how many from creation to, we can work it out, 2,000 years probably, yeah. 2,000 years from creation to, yeah. And then what? And then we need to know that what we acquire is actually a blessing. It's not because of our toil, it's not because of what we've done. Rather, how do we return it back to Hashem? Yeah.
Hashem.
And interestingly, as we said before, Reshit, Mereshit, Bereshit, we always read Ki Tavo just really 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. What's Rosh Hashanah? What is we celebrate on Rosh Hashanah? The creation of man.
Yeah.
Yeah, why it's become Yom Adin, why it's become the Judgment Day? That's the day Hashem created the first the duty. The first man and his children had a duty to bring the best from the fruit. Yeah, to work the land, to guard it. Instead of that, they sin. Yeah, it's not something that, they sin and it's over. But we have a chance, again, every year to come back and to repair and to do Bikurim and to do Tshuva and to close the circuit and start a beautiful new year. So, what? I don't know if we need to blow the shofar, we can. But I think if you manage to follow all the jumping in the pages, technically the story of Cain and Abel, we can argue, happened already in Gan Eden, and the Mitzvah of Bikorim is returning to Gan Eden and bringing the best of the fruit back to Hashem, as we do on Rosh Hashanah. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi. That was great.
Great.
Awesome, Rabbi.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Rabbi.
Thank you.
Questions? Yes? What?
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.